Well, thank you very much for having me. And I was told I just have I think 15 minutes time to present, so I'll try to run quickly here. Yeah, so my topic is around using the copilots, building of copilots for the threat modeling use case as part of the security review. A little bit about the scope. So I want to share here some real-world Gen AI built application that we are slowly starting to use in the production, right? And this is coming from like mid-size or any size of the enterprise. So anyone can take this lesson and try to use in their daily security world. Another reason is just the inspiration, right? So I want to inspire us and each other to do more AI stuff and share with each other, and then keep improving our solutions. All right, just the intro will be part of the agenda. I'm going to cover the basics of threat modeling, the challenge, the AI solution, some of the results, and the next steps. Cool. Yeah, as Bree said, I work for Progress as their product security engineer. A little bit about me. I did my master back in 10 years ago, started working for IBM as their security engineer, then Fiddler Jukebox. These are the startups being their first security engineer. Then my current role is the Progress, covering the product and AppSec. Okay, so back in November, October 2024, I got into a situation where I realized, okay, so I'm probably catching up with the AI, Gen AI movement. So I had my own reasons to kind of like try to dive into this world and get something useful for the security, right? That was one reason. Another, I just wanted to separate the real value from the hype going on. Another reason was my current company at that time was building the Gen AI features for the external customers. So we had to now secure them. And as you probably know, the best way to secure is to build yourself. And that time, I started researching, learning different AI solutions, what would be best for me. And I stumbled upon the StratGPT, the open source from Matthew Adams. And I thought, why I don't need to invent the bicycle? I could just use this solution for my own company, right? The few challenges I faced there, although I kind of like leveraged the solution schema you're going to see in the demo, but I couldn't use it. I think that time there was no local or private model, so you had to provide your foundational model API key and share the data with the this external companies like Anthropic or OpenAI, right? That wasn't a no-go for me, and then I decided, okay, so let me get that inspiration idea and build something in-house for my company needs. Okay, so if I go a little back and try to explain what is the threat modeling, right, for the folks who haven't worked. So we answer 4 questions. What are we building? This is where we're going to define the scope of the product, the architecture, the platform component. The second step, we're going to identify possible threats and the worst case scenario to the product. The third thing is all about the mitigations, what kind of mitigations we have. And the 4 is the status of those mitigations, right? Have we done a good job doing those? As you probably guessed, this is very, very time consuming, right? So I need to sit down with the developers in a few long sessions, calls, right? And this is depending on the product complexity. The more complex, the more time we spend on it. It's not scalable. From my experience and talking to the other security experts, the ratio is usually 1 security engineer, and we support around 30 or 40 developers. The gap gets bigger, the company gets bigger. And the third one is the merging acquisition. This is specific to companies like a Progress or some other companies, the similar companies where the business strategy is merging acquisition. As a result, you might have different tech stack, right? So you don't, when you buy the company, when you merge business, but you don't want to add the friction. So you usually don't break that process. You don't migrate everything into your tech stack. This is the challenge for the product security, because now you need to support, let's say in the last 4 years, you have merged 8 different companies. Now you have 8 different tech stack, right? Not very scalable. So yeah, the solution tech stack is, again, pretty generic from the AI world. Whatever I see, we also use a Streamlit for the UI interaction. The second step is probably the most important. This is where we feed the product, or like the product knowledge base, into the copilot. The third, we construct the prompt and then pass it to our AI, in which I'm just using the AWS Bedrock as a platform and Anthropic Claude 3.7 as a foundational model here. Yeah, again, workflow is pretty straightforward. We go to the tool, we provide the name, description of the product, our architecture diagram, and then, as you saw in the previous slide, we're gonna construct it, process it, and send it to the LLM, and then LLM generates us the threat model. And the step number 4 is very important, where we have a human in the loop who validates the output, or adds, or maybe removes it. I'm not sure if you can see the screen. I cannot. Oh, yeah. I couldn't expand it, but this is where we pass this system prompt saying, hey, like, I act as the cybersecurity expert, focusing on this product and leveraging the STRIDE methodology and OWASP top 10 principles. I'm not sure if you can see, but I'm passing the parameters from the user. And then at the end, I'm asking, hey, generate me the threat model, having the component name, threat name, severity, scenario, impact, mitigation, right? And here I'm asking just for 10 threats. Okay, now, again, the important part, right? The knowledge base. Whatever you can find, you need to pass it to your tool, right? To make it more smarter and get the relevant output from the tool. This is the classic of garbage in, garbage out. No exceptions here. So in our case, we have the open API files. I have a network diagrams. We pass in the data flow diagrams, and also environment information, right? The structure of the knowledge base is also straightforward from AWS, leveraging the rack approach, the Titan model, and then the open source serverless. Oh, sorry, there's a typo. I just realized. Yes, open source database, and then I'm using the S3 bucket as my data type, right? So putting all those files on the S3 bucket and feeding into the rack knowledge base in AWS. Okay. Now in the demo, I need to quickly share the screen. Hope you can see this little tool. So one of the downside is sharing to publicly. I can share the real production cases here, right? But imagine we have a Jira ticket with the product name, description, and then the architecture diagram, which we're gonna just copy paste into this copilot. So for this presentation, I just made the dummy one. Let's say we are building analytics portal, and I have a bunch of features as part of it. The parameters part, I have tried to make it very related to our product. As you can see, these are like related to, again, the share file, which is now part of the progress. And then we're gonna provide the the architecture, which here I have this just as a dummy, and we're gonna generate it. Yeah, ideally I'm connecting to my knowledge base, right, in the background. So give me a few seconds here. Yeah, because it's a demo, it's taking a bit slower than usual. Oh, here we go. Yeah, again, you can ignore all the output, but basically we're going to get the component name. I have a threat name. I want to see the severity, the scenario, how that particular threat could be exploited, the worst case impact into the product through that threat, and the mitigations. I'm thinking I could add some mitigation status here for tracking purposes, but that's something for later. And then at the end, you can just export it to your CSV, add it to a Jira ticket, or send it to the proper team. I think that's it about the demo. Let me go back to the presentation slides. Okay, yeah, demo and then slide. Accuracy value. So this is purely subjective, coming from the security engineers and the pilot team that going through the exercise, right? When we started in November, the version 0 again was just a 5% relevant to the our product. And then in December, we got into 30-35. We switched to the like prompt staffing technique, where I was lazy and didn't have time. I just got all the knowledge base and passed it in my Python's code directly. Then in January, realizing there is no shortcut using a prompt staffing, I went and used the RAG approach from AWS, which bumped for 40-45, because now I don't need to prepare all that data on the prompt staffing, right? I could just add into S3 bucket and send it to my copilot. And in February, I didn't have to do anything. Just the Sonnet 3.7 upgrade bumped my performance, I think, by 10 or 15%. So here, we said the value is 50-55, and the feedback from the software developers, the customers, were positive. They told me, hey, I could take this output from the copilot and use it as the baseline, like in the production, right, as part of the threat modeling. But we, as a security engineers, we're a bit cautious and pessimistic in a sense. So we still want to improve it. And let's say my dream goal or my dream state is 70%. So when I reach 70, I probably will be happy and stop working more actively on this one. Okay, somewhat why the private one is better, I guess, at least in our case, right? The pretty simple one, the privacy concerns or security concerns, right? Everything is staying within our premises, within our AWS. We already on AWS sharing the data with the customer, so nothing worse can happen. According to AWS and the Anthropic contract, when we use the foundational model for Anthropic, we are not sending any data to Anthropic, but we are renting their technology, right? Their foundational model. So presumably everything stays again within the AWS boundary. That also wins us in the compliance or in some legal battles if we get any. And then at the end, we're going to get the Bedrock benefits built in, right? Their guardrails, their improvements, their vast reach of foundational models also. And this is specific to AWS. And now you can improve the engine using the AWS, right? So you can add the different IAM roles or develop some Lambda functions to make it available. So sky is the limit there, right? So that's the benefit. Yeah, the lesson learned here. At least in my case, the diagram was very painful. First, I tried the PDFs and JPEG and all the other standard the formats for reading the diagrams. At that time, the foundational models didn't read properly, like the complicated workflows, right? So when I have just 10 steps of the diagram, it's fine. But when I have 15 or 20 steps of the architecture diagram, it couldn't read properly. And then we found a solution of, hey, now let's go and try to use a DSL format with this pilot team, which was a success. But as you can see, it's not that scalable for the other teams or for the other products inside my company, because now you have to prep their data and convert all their diagrams to DSL, which is again another not a block but delay, right? The knowledge base quality, right? Again, classic of garbage in, garbage out. You need to have the quality data here. You need to have more data, but also the consumption of that data, right? How properly your LLM copilot or your solution is feeding that data from your knowledge base. Is it doing it properly or not, or is it what to extent, right? That's another aspect of here. In my case, now I found RAG is pretty very easily usable and deployable from AWS in our case. Yeah, so if you're thinking RAG or Versa prompt stuff, and just go with the RAG. And then start with a simple product, right? In our case, the share file is very complex. And to prove the value, it took me more time, but with the simpler the product, the better the value. Think about this is the ultimate customer here. I'm shooting are the software developers, like self-service model, right? So you'll give this copilot, they can run this on their own. And maybe sometimes you need to verify in the unique cases. Okay, yeah. These are my next steps. I'm thinking I touched a little bit on the enhancing of the knowledge base. So from my side, I want to add more data. Now I want to focus more on a multimodality approach from AWS. I saw there are good recent articles. And then, as I said before, I want to improve the quality, right? I want to verify that my model is correctly feeding the data from the knowledge base into what extent. The fine tuning, I don't know, my terminology might be wrong here. Basically what I'm trying to do is I want to get the previous threat models related to my product, input and output, and pass it to the copilot saying, hey, this is with the previous one, learn from it, right? And then consider them when you do the next ones. Number 3, I want to compare different LLMs, not only Anthropic Sonnet 3.7, although I like it very much, but the other ones. However, the choice from AWS is limited, but I saw you can upload a custom model if I'm not mistaken. So I need to double check. Number 4 is the prompt customization. I'm thinking to add like the prompt into the copilot where you can do the follow-up, right? So if you don't like the certain threats or you don't agree with the certain aspects of like mitigations or scenario or severity, you can have that chat with the copilot. And this one, I think I also said before, I want to tackle the simpler products in my next phases. So we do have another pilot coming up, and I want to probably just build a version 0 for them and then pass it so that they can improve it to make it again self-service in their case. I think that's about it. Yeah, feel free to connect me on LinkedIn. And again, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.